Good morning, good afternoon, and evening to a few of you. Welcome to today's community briefing. My name is Gregory Sneed, and we are glad you are here. You're joining Crystal Mitchell, Robin Billets, and Stephen Turner on the community briefing. Today is the 10th of August in 2023, and we are into year four. Is that right? Of doing this? We've done
Yes,
three, 4 years, and
we're
into
we're
year
in year
four.
4.
Wow, wow. It started off as just a couple of things to update people on what was happening with all the COVID and out of the coronavirus. Here we are. So today, our guest is Mr. Addison Peterson, and he's going to be joining us momentarily and sharing some wonderful information. So stay tuned. Again, my name is Gregory Sneed. The name of my company is Lifesaver Financial Services. I help my clients keep more of the money they make so they feel better about their life. And now, it's my pleasure to welcome to the virtual stage our queen of the community briefing, Miss Crystal Mitchell.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here. I am back solid for right now. Anyway, I'm leaving for Egypt on next week on the 18th. Looking forward to it. And I'm treating myself. I upgraded myself to travel 15 hours in first class. I think I deserve it. I have worked extremely hard this year, so that is my gift to me for working so hard. But welcome to the community briefing. My name is Crystal Mitchell. I'm the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars. This platform was inspired by me during the pandemic, as Greg indicated, to make sure that we got the information and that we needed to have to make better decisions for our business, and also to make sure when there's money out there and opportunities out there, we need to be right on it, right there, sitting in the front row, dead center. And so we're making sure that that happens because we're bringing our leaders and stakeholders here to you so that you too will have a chair at the table. And as they said earlier this week, if you don't have a chair, bring your own chair. So I've had a great time over the weekend. I know all you have. It felt like we had, like, I don't know, some sort of proclamation that went down on the August 5th. As somebody said, it should become Cinco Agosto for black folks. That's what somebody on TikTok said. So celebration every year. But we want to welcome you all. This is your platform for us to network and come together and unite as one and create that one voice. So we want to thank you for being here. We have a fantastic team on the community briefing. Myself, Miss Robin Billups, Mr. Gregory Sneed, and Mr. Stephen Turner, who does the production and bring in all these amazing guests and interact with them. So we want to thank you all. But again, this is our platform, so please put your information in the chat. Connect with each other, guys. We need to make sure that we're creating a one united front, because if one falls, we all fall. So divided we stand. And if there was nothing else better than this weekend that you took away from that, is throw up the hat and let's make sure we there for each other. Back to you, Greg. Over to you, Robin.
Crystal, I'm like you. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing the brother say, "Okay, it's on," and then here comes the cavalry. We're always the ones that get beat up by the cavalry. I just loved every bit of it. My name is Robin Billups. I'm with the Billups Group. I coach, assess, and get my clients to a strategic plan related to procurement and or other corporate opportunities that are available to them. I'm glad to be here. My soapbox for this week and from now on will be vote, vote, vote. There was an article in the paper earlier this week talking about the fact that when they started doing the polling, it's going to be white seniors who are going to have the majority vote this time around. And I'm challenging everybody on community briefing and all of the other networks that are tied to the individuals who are here. I'm challenging you to at least get 10 people registered and bring 50 folks to the poll, or get 50 folks to the poll. We have to do this. Our rights as a democratic society is up for test. And so it's incumbent upon us to pay attention, get the support that we need, make sure that we're registered. And again, thank you for the opportunity to have this platform. And Greg, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I just it's funny we're talking about that. I just read that the state of Alabama now requires permits to carry a folding chair. I got to tell you, the creativity that came out of this, well, the memes or whatever like that. I have one I'll share later, but more importantly today, we've got Mr. Addison Peterson of CAMEO, and I'll share with you that he has served as a delegate for the Democratic National Committee in California Democratic Party. After graduating college with his bachelor's degree in political science, uh, doesn't say where. We'll find that in a moment. He worked as a fellow for the Jesse M. Unruh Assembly Fellowship Program for the office of Assembly Member Chris Holden. While working in the Assembly for a few years, Addison staffed legislation and worked on the Assembly floor team for the Speaker and Majority Leader's office. After the Assembly, he worked in the University of California Office of the President as the high school articulation coordinator working on educational policy for K-12 and higher education. During this time, he completed his master's in public administration, still don't know where, and today he enjoys working with the small business community, figuring out new ways to support small business and the state and federal policy level. I have no idea where he grew up. He's going to share that with us. Where you from? Are you from? Are you native of Los Angeles?
I am fourth generation.
Fourth generation native. Oh, wow, that's deep. Okay, so that's fantastic. So please join me in welcoming Addison Peterson with CAMEO, not the R&B group. He's going to tell us all about what CAMEO is. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Addison Peterson.
Thank you, Gregory. My name's Addison Peterson. As Greg mentioned, I work for CAMEO. I'm the policy specialist for CAMEO. What CAMEO does is the statewide network of small business technical assistance centers. Some of you guys might know the small business development centers. I know some of you guys work with them or some of them. And what we do is we train them on micro lending and CDFI training and stuff like that. In my job, I do a lot of the policy work, so do a lot of the advocacy. I assist Heidi with writing letters, blog posts, host our advocacy day, things like that. And as Greg mentioned, I did grow up in LA. I lived in LA all the way up until I did the fellowship program because I went to California State University, Los Angeles for my bachelor's degree. And after I stopped working for the Assembly, I went to get my master's degree in public administration from the University of San Francisco. So I have like a Bay Area, LA kind of free situation going on. But yeah, so let's get started with the presentation. I'll explain more in the presentation. Oh boy. I hate when that happens. Yeah. Okay. Are you all able to see the slideshow?
Yeah, you're in presenter mode, so you may want to go up to the top where it says display settings and click that little down arrow and switch that. There you go. Yeah, swap
it. Okay, I got it. Thank you. So I wanted to do this presentation because I heard Dr. Turner say something a few presentations ago, a few community briefings ago about college admissions. And so I wanted to share not only legislation I did when I worked at legislature to help remedy some of those things, but also as high school articulation coordinator, I know it's a really weird term, but I also ran the UC and CSU A through G program, which is the program that every high school student in California is required to do if you want to go to a state university. If you want to go to a state university, you have to take 12 classes, and those classes have to be approved by the University of California in order for you to be minimally eligible to attend the University of California or California State Los Angeles. I'm sorry, any California State University, I'm sorry. As I mentioned before, I grew up in LA. I'm a fourth generation Angelino. I attended schools all over LA. I even went to high school in Victorville for a year, Silverado High School. And as you guys all know, living in LA, the educational opportunities for kids in South Central LA, at least when I was growing up, was not very fruitful. I was a very bright kid that couldn't go to GATE programs because they were far away from where I lived. At the time I lived in Watts, off of Central 112th, and it was quite far from any of the GATE programs. And so, yeah, so I struggled quite a bit with trying to gain more academic opportunities growing up in LA. And so dual enrollment is when a high school student can attend college courses in exchange for credit at both institutions. It's more popular on the East Coast and in the South than it is on the West Coast. For reasons I'll explain in a bit, it was a big challenge to bring dual enrollment to California. Big challenge. This is the only state that fought dual enrollment through the legislative process. In the best programs, students leave with a high school diploma and end up with a college degree. There are students in Florida, and you can probably go on YouTube and see the news stories about this, about kids who, in Florida and other states, who literally graduate with their community college degree, their associate's degree, before they even receive their high school diplomas, which has been pretty amazing. That's with the best programs, right? So the uses for dual enrollment is for expanding opportunity for high school students. And you can use it for remediation, workforce development, entrepreneurship, college preparation, or just empowering your youth to take control over their future, right? Something that Dr. Turner also mentioned that I thought was super important during her presentation, she said that if you're a student, you're thinking about going to college, you don't start thinking about going to college in high school because at that point it's too late. You got to start thinking about this in middle school. And unfortunately, for a lot of kids, they don't understand that. I did not understand that, right? I thought I was going to be an astronaut. I thought I was going to do these cool things, and I decided to apply for the Air Force Academy for their pre-application program that they offer, and they give you all the weaknesses of your application. And when they sent that letter back to me in my 10th grade year of high school, I was totally unaware of all the things that they required. It was already too late for me to change my education plan to be admitted to the Air Force Academy. And so in order to go to the college like that, you have to start middle school because of the way in which some of the classes, take shape, like algebra 1 and geometry, things like that. And a lot of these schools want to see that you take calculus or trigonometry at a minimum before you go to apply for school, And so I thought that was really important. And so there are multiple types of dual enrollment. There's the college and career access pathways, and this is a program that provides students that aren't really sure if they want to go to college with college courses to kind of help them see if this is something that they want to do. Early college high schools are where students can earn their high school diploma in up to 2 years of college units. So this is a program where they can literally earn their college degree as they earn their high school diploma, and probably at the same time if they do the program appropriately at the right time. Middle college high schools provide the college and career prep curriculum to students who are performing below their academic potential. So if you're a student who's struggling in school, but you still want to go to college, there's always that opportunity for you to still go to a middle college high school and take some colleges at the local college that you go to, and they can give you algebra courses. Obviously, there's no credit, but they can help you put that on your transcript as something you've completed with a pretty good grade, right? So I just want to go through some data of dual quick. So in California, as of 2019-20, this is according to the Public Policy Institute of California, as of 2019-2020, more than 112,000 students in California take dual enrollment courses in California a year. Before I introduced legislation to do that, we didn't have dual enrollment. We only had concurrent enrollment, which allowed for high school students to go to community college, but they were not receiving credit for that. And on top of that, they had to pay for that. And so what my bill did is it really streamlined the process for dual enrollment, created contractual agreements between the school districts and the community college. And in those contractual agreements, we required that the students are not don't have to pay anything. These courses are totally free. We also there's also legislation right now to improve some of the processes with dual enrollment, like making sure that once a student enters a dual enrollment program, they can complete it within 2 years. Typically, white and Asian students are overrepresented in the program versus Black and Hispanic students, but that is a growing number. Black and Hispanic students are growing more and more in the program every year. And about 20% of dual enrollment courses are for career preparation, which is great. So you're going to see, so there's been growing dual enrollment participation. Um, as you can see, since 2015, when the state started taking data, the bill was signed in 2015. So you can see the year that the bill was signed into law was about 60, 65, 70,000 people who were trying to do that. But as of 19 and 20, you see over 100,000 people are now enrolled in dual enrollment programs throughout the state because of the improved contractual agreements. You see that dual enrollment participation by race. You see a lot of Latino students are taking advantage of dual enrollment, which is good because, again, like I said, in LA schools, you don't necessarily get a lot of the educational opportunities that you would like. And so what I did was essentially create a loophole in the system for students who want to go to college or who want to improve their educational outcomes to do so outside of the K-12 system, because as we know, the K-12 system isn't necessarily friendly to people of color. So,
Addison, a quick question there, just to
sure.
back up. The dual enrollment, that doesn't include dual language, right?
No, dual language is something different. So that's programs that typically try to teach students who have multiple languages. Dual enrollment is more of a program where you can go to community college as a high school student and take classes to either improve your high school standing. You can do it to, if you're a high excelling student, you want to take a calculus class that maybe it's not offered at your school, you can do that at community college, things like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what dual language and dual enrollment is, but it just that stat for just seems really high. So I was just saying, I wonder if that it was duplicative, but you say it's
Oh
not.
no.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
you're asking if they're taking like language classes as in dual enrollment.
Yes.
Um, from the data that I saw, and it's not in this presentation, but I have a link to the Public Policy Institute of California report that I took the data from. And in that report, I saw that students were mostly taking math and science courses to fill what was missing in their high school curriculum
Okay.
or career preparation courses. Because these days, especially with the younger generation, they don't always feel that college is necessarily right for them, so they may want to just go on and do something else.
Okay. Thanks. That
Um,
explains. Thank you.
mhm. So dual enrollment participation by geography, economic status, and race. So the highest participation amongst first generation college students, right? Students who have whose family members have never been to college, and they're trying to make a way in there. The highest participation, as you guys saw, were Latino and white students across the board. And Los Angeles and Orange County and Central Valley have the most dual enrollment participation, which is really good because when I wrote the legislation, Los Angeles and Orange County had 0 dual enrollment programs. The Central Valley had one in Fresno, and it's still going strong. I think the only school district in Southern California that I knew offered dual enrollment prior to the bill being signed was Santa Barbara schools. They offered it, and it was a really successful program, actually. Um, so once they complete dual enrollment, oh, I'm sorry. When you look at the data, you also see racial and ethnic gaps in college enrollment amongst the dual enrollment students as well. So basically, what this information is saying is that what happens after a student takes dual enrollment? Are they more likely to go to college, or are they less likely? And what we see in the data is that they're a lot more likely to go to college. And I think it has a lot to do with getting that initial fear of going into a college classroom and not being able to succeed. And these students see that they weren't able to succeed, and they can actually do this, and they didn't have to spend any money doing it, right? And they also get double the credit, which is awesome. I kind of mentioned this already. You know, a lot of these high schools, a lot of these people who take dual enrollment, they absolutely end up in a 2-year college, or they go to a 4-year university right after that. You see this across the board. Doesn't matter if they're in college and career prep, they're in an early college high school or in a middle college high school. Everybody who takes dual enrollment is pretty much going to college right after. So I wanted to provide an example of potential opportunities with dual enrollment. So as you know, with CAMEO, we do a lot of small business work. We work with a lot of small business technical centers to provide assistance for small businesses. So according to a survey by Junior Achievement of USA, 60% of teenagers want to be small business owners instead of getting a traditional job, right? 45% of the teenagers in the survey wanted to learn from a small business owner, and 37% wanted to take programs in school or after school to learn about entrepreneurship. This is where dual enrollment comes in. And 14.7% of the students in California dual enrollment are taking classes in the business and management track, which means there is interest in doing entrepreneurship while in high school. Now, this is a program that can be offered at Pasadena City College with the dual enrollment. They offer a business administration, entrepreneurship, and small business management track, and high school students can absolutely join this and learn everything there is to learn about starting a small business, managing that small business in the classroom, which is awesome. And did you also know what's great about Pasadena City College is that they have a small business development center on site, which is awesome because once these students take the classroom course, which is great, as we all know in business, there's a difference between the classroom and actually doing it, right? So what they can do is go to the small business development center right after that and get technical assistance, where not only will they be trained on proper business management tactics, but also they'll be taught to they'll also access the capital, which a lot of small business owners do not have when they are starting off, right? And to have that access to capital from the SBA right then and there is really critical. It's really important. So the importance of micro and small business, provides an individual with income, whether they operate their business full-time or part-time. Small business owners provides the community with needed products or services. Small business owners hire people in the community. A younger small business owner can be a role model for their peers, and also it's a great way to make money while pursuing other opportunities. I know that there was a big reason why, after working in University of California, I've seen the data that a lot of Black students, when they enroll in college and they get in through the doors, unfortunately, a lot of us tend to drop out within the first 2 years, and it's because of one of the biggest reasons is financial reasons. And if we had an opportunity to make money while in college, potentially with having our own business, and I knew a lot of students at Cal State LA who were not people of color, but they had their own businesses while in college. And that's how they made their money doing that. And so this is what dual enrollment can offer, is a potential way for you to make money, either to continue running with your business or even have a way to pay for college, as you're going through that process. And the impact from having such a really good, wraparound support with business management at the community college is that you're going to get assistance in forming a business plan. You're going to have access to capital, as I already mentioned. You're going to be able to grow your business assistance network among, many technical assistance providers, and also learn from experienced people who run a business or who are helping people run a business every single day, so they can. Be successful in their ventures. So there are challenges.
Stop, Shane. Stop. Right.
Well, I think you gotta mute yourself, Susan.
Someone needs to mute.
So there are challenges with dual enrollment as well, and I'm gonna share those with you guys. So there's some ways we can improve dual enrollment. So we can increase the number of high school teachers with a master's degree. So this is the part where I tell you how difficult it was to get dual enrollment passed in the state. Like this was no other state has passing dual enrollment. It's mostly because in our state, the California Teachers Association decided that they wanted to challenge this legislation, mostly because they felt like the high school teachers can be encroached by the community college professors doing their work. And so we put provisions in the legislation to say that if there's a high school teacher on the high school campus who, with a master's degree, who's minimally eligible to be a community college professor, um, they can um, they can teach the dual enrollment course, so long as they meet the minimum requirements. And this is also good because we, as you guys know, there's been issues with, you know, with kids in classrooms. I know at Cal State LA, it's really hush hush, but we have a high school campus on at Cal State LA, and then there's also another gifted program that allows high school age students to take college courses. And we've heard issues about, sexual harassment and things like that of, underage kids. So we decided to put the high school teacher provision in there to provide a little bit of safety, because high school teachers require a lot more um, background checking than a community college professor. So creating pathways that lead to high paying jobs for starting a small business. So as I kind of mentioned, there's legislation that is going to come out. And as you guys may or may not have heard a few years ago, or, this has been an evolving conversation for 10 years, that the community college has a difficult time processing and getting through adult students, right? And the state has spent money and a lot of legislation to try and improve that process, and they're trying to do that with dual enrollment, to try to smooth some of these pathways so that these students do walk out with a community college associate's degree right after high school or during their high school education. In some cases, highly qualified students could not take a dual enrollment course because they lack the high school prerequisite. We need to close these academic deficiency gaps, because that's not the point of dual enrollment, is to reduce those enrollment gaps. And also, we need to hire more counselors who are focused on dual enrollment to ensure the wraparound support. So I don't know what the counseling situation is now, but I know when I was in high school and I went to Bellflower High School, and Bellflower, the counselors are not that helpful trying to do college prep, and so you're kind of on your own. But we need more high school counselors who are focused on ensuring that students are successful with their college plans. And also, one more issue that's been a problem is finding more qualified teachers. Um, there aren't that many teachers out there with a master's degree, and there's not as many teachers with 15 plus years of experience. There's been a lot of turnover in K-12 in the community college system, so they are still struggling with trying to get more faculty in both sides. And that is the end of the presentation. And if you guys have any questions.
Oh, there you go. Sometimes that mute button doesn't want to react. Spam risk. Okay. That's my fax line. Somebody trying to call. I don't have a way of muting that. Anyway, so no, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, I think that education is really a key, and it was saddened to hear that there were programs that you would have liked to participate in, but the distance, would preempted that. I think now there's a tremendous opportunity using virtual. I mean, the sky's the universe for today's youth. I mean, we physically had to go to the library, and I'm pulling the cards. So you can share. Is that embraced? Are students are recognizing that, or what are you seeing as the trend? Is there still that thirst for knowledge?
Absolutely. When you look at the data for the students who are enrolling, I think it's on par with the population numbers and the amount of Black students who are enrolling in dual enrollment. And what you see is that they're really trying to take the classes that are gaps at their current high school. And that was also the same for me. That was another reason why I faced challenges, because your local high school may not offer a trigonometry or a calculus class because they may not have a teacher to do so. I kind of mentioned that in the previous slide, right, where there are not enough teachers out there that have the skills to do these upper division type classes. And so that's always a struggle where in the community college system, they generally have someone available to do that. So yeah, I mean, in the data, I think there's a lot of students that are really thirsty for knowledge, and they're finding they don't have those opportunities at their local high school, and so they're going over to the community college to try and to gain some more opportunity there.
Robin?
Hey, Addison, again, thank you for this because I talk about this a lot, that the opportunity to take those college classes while you're in high school. I just had a couple of questions. One statement.
Mhm.
I don't use the word free because it's our tax dollars at work, right?
That's true.
And so people need to understand that those are your tax dollars paying for those classes. And yeah, it may not cost you immediately, but somewhere along the line, that's why voting is important. And then the other thing I wanted to ask about, I truly see it as a cost savings, right? People who take those, what I call freshman and sophomore year classes in college, you're paying a big amount of money for those classes that you really could take when you're in high school. Graduate with your diploma, graduate with your AA degree, and then talk a little bit about some success stories that you've had along with the transfer portal. Does that not open up the transfer portal for a student instead of getting in the big line trying to get into these major schools? Because if they have an AA degree, would they not be a transfer student? If you can give some clarity to that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah, so if they received enough credits in the community college system to get their college degree, then they could be a transfer student to maybe like the University of California or California State University. And you're totally right about the cost savings that could potentially happen, right? If you take your lower division classes while you're in high school and you already have what you want to do planned out, then yeah, that's a huge cost savings because you as a student are not paying for it. We, the taxpayers, are paying for that, right? And they're paying for it not. I don't think it's through LCFF per se, but it's through a separate fund. But yeah, you're totally right. It's a huge cost savings.
So when you say take your lower division classes, if you have it all planned out, I'm assuming that, I tell people at a minimum, build, if you don't know what you want to major in, to get a liberal arts degree, right? At least a general, what I call a good solid degree. So if a student hasn't decided what they want to be, why wouldn't they still take those, I love how you put it, the lower division classes in college while they're in high school? Talk a little bit about that.
Why would they not?
Yeah.
Because either they don't know about the dual enrollment program, or they don't feel that they have the academic fortitude to go into a community college classroom. And I saw that a lot with my peers in high school, where they felt, for whatever reason, that they were not going to be able to succeed in a college environment. And even people I went to college with, there were some people who dropped out of Cal State LA that I knew from Compton and from Watts and places like that. And they just did not feel confident being in a college environment. But what I think is great about dual enrollment is that you can go on that community college campus and be exposed to that stuff really early and gain that confidence that, hey, I have all this stuff in my head and I think is going on, but it's really not, right? It's not as difficult as I'm making it out to be, and it's not as intimidating as I have in my mind. And that's a big hurdle I think a lot of Black college students need to overcome.
Now, you mentioned, and one of the things we're going to ask you, keep us up to date on this legislation. I honor an individual who sees a problem and comes up with some legislation and gets it passed. So talk to us, give us a little bit of how that unfolds, because I think that is just amazing to me. And that too, you're just a regular brother, you're not a politician, you're not trying to run, you may run for office somewhere down the line, but talk to us about how that unfolds.
Sure. So I can even talk to you about how I even got involved in politics in the first place. So I got involved in politics when Obama was president, and he passed healthcare. And when he passed healthcare, the way he did it, I was like, yo, that's so cool. I want to do that. Like, you know, in a political science degree program, and I was in my second year of college. And I was sitting on my bed one day, and I said to myself, and I don't know why this thought came to my head, but I said, you know, Addison, you're getting a degree in political science. Should you go figure out if this is something you really want to go do? And I said, you know what? In my head, I'm like, you know, oh yeah, I probably should. So President Obama was the only president, and still is the only president, that has ever kept their political campaign going while they were president. So I joined what was then called Obama for America, or Organizing for America. It's had two different names. And I joined the campaign, and I lived in Lancaster at the time. And as you all know, Lancaster was extremely conservative, or it was at least 10 years ago. Things have changed now a little bit now. They're still pretty conservative. I see Rex Paris is still running around up there. Um, and when I became neighborhood team leader, it was not like a whole bunch of support, even though it was in LA County. And I was able to transform, well, I want to say was one of the many individuals who helped transform the Antelope Valley to become more liberal. And that happened mostly because a lot of people from LA started moving up to Lancaster, Palmdale. And I registered to vote. A lot of people who moved, they wouldn't register to vote for some reason. And so I had to re-register these people and go to the grocery stores, go to their houses during 100-degree days, put in that footwork to really make sure that these people are registered to vote, right? And while you know, we lost the congressional district in terms of the congressperson was still Republican, when his next election came, the second election came, we won the presidential part of that congressional district high. It was like over 10 points, right? And that was a sign to me that we can make this a more liberal, more democratic place. And I know recently they did elect a Democratic Assembly member, but I got involved just through the Obama campaign. And then another opportunity came up. I went to a protest um, at the state capitol in Sacramento, and our school bused us up to this protest at Cal State LA. Cal State LA paid for the, you know, our student government paid for it to bus us up there. I meet my best friend, who's now my best friend. His name's Johan, and he convinces me to get involved in Lobby Corps, which is in the California State University system. All 23 CSUs have a student government, and every student government has what they call a lobby corps, and that lobby corps goes to the state capitol or to state legislators all over the state. We lobby them. We do advocacy. And depending on, obviously, the people that's running it, it's either going to be really good or not. The way we ran it, it's really good. And, you know, I would meet with all kinds of state legislators, whether it be in their local offices or up in Sacramento. And during that time, I started developing a rapport with the staff in the state legislature, and that's how I got to the fellowship program. The Jesse M. Unruh Assembly Fellowship Program is a program that's run out of Sac State, and it's a really unique program where only 12 or 13 people out of thousands of people who apply to this program, only 12 or 13 people get selected for this program. And I was one of those people because I really built up a strong rapport with the legislative staff. And so that's kind of how I got started in politics. And that's how I ended up, you know, getting into Assemblymember Holden's office and writing that bill. And when I wrote that bill, I was told right off the bat that this was a no-go, that this legislation has never passed in California and don't expect for it to. They told me as a young fellow, they said, you know, you're going to get into a fight with the biggest people in the state and good luck, you know. And so I did it. And the first year I failed, you know, I didn't make it through. The CTA killed it in the Senate Appropriations Committee. And they killed it because, like I said, they felt like, you know, potentially their jobs were in jeopardy if they allowed community college professors to teach high school students, which is not accurate because the community college faculty union don't want to teach high school students. And they made that very clear that if there's a high school teacher that can become a community college faculty member, they definitely want that more than, you know, a regular person. So we got into that fight again in the second year. I was in Assemblymember Holden's office. And this time I used a lot of muscle and weight because he became majority leader the next year. And so I really like fought them hard every day. And they tried to make a claim that the federal government opposed dual enrollment. And they said this in a letter they sent to Assembly Education Committee. And I was able to go to the Obama administration because I have contacts there and get a letter that specifically stated that the federal government, including the Obama and Bush administrations, were highly in favor of dual enrollment, and they encouraged them at high schools across the United States. And so once I received that kind of information, and once I spread that got out, the CTA lost that fight. And as you guys may or may not know, the California Teachers Association does not lose fights in California. To beat them, it takes a lot. It's not easy. And so I was one of the few people in the last decade to beat the California Teachers Association in the legislature. So not easy, but it made me a pariah. So yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Richard.
you. Thank you so much for your tenacity. And again, we would like to invite you to be our education and legislative guru, just like we have our Dr. Vicki Mays is on today. We're going to come to her in a few minutes because I'm sure she got some updates for us regarding COVID. But Addison, this has been fantastic. Richard Kennedy has a question. Then Greg has a question, and then we want to acknowledge your colleagues that have dialed in today as well. Richard.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for your time and your presentation, Addison. You brought up a blast from the past when you mentioned Jesse Unruh. Jesse Unruh, that was the first campaign I worked on back in the 70s. So that dates myself when he ran for governor. He lost, but it was good experience. My question is, I guess I'm probably from the teacher's perspective too, I would imagine, how does the dual enrollment program intersect or interface with advanced placement or AP?
It overrules AP programs because the advanced placement program is considered to be an honors roll high school course. If you take the community college course over an AP course, that rules supreme. That's the higher course.
Addison, say that again. Please
so
say that again.
AP courses are high school honors roll courses, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you take the same, let's say for example, it's like AP English or something like that. You take an English course at the community college course would trump the AP English course. It's almost like you probably shouldn't, if you're going to do dual enrollment, you probably shouldn't waste your time on AP courses because your college courses are going to trump those because you're receiving college credit for them. And quite often, if you're going to receive college credit for it, they're transferable.
Richard, great question, and you truly have enlightened us. That's some good stuff.
Mm-hmm. One follow-up, Addison, aren't some of the AP courses transferable also?
To the college?
Yes.
They're counted. So you receive one college unit from so say for example you take the AP course and you score a 4 or 5 on the exam, you receive a college credit for it, which applies to any college you go to, right? But that's just one unit. If you take a community college course, that's 3 or 4 units, that's more units. And so that's why it pretty much trumps that AP course, because the AP course is technically transferable, but it doesn't count towards your college academic career path, as to where if you took a community college course, that would absolutely count, because that's even though you're a high school student, you're still an enrolled community college student. So if it's a transferable course to a university, you have to. You can transfer it, but not AP, if that makes sense, because it's not a college course.
Greg,
thank you. Yeah, so here in the community briefing, we'd prefer you use the word supersede or prioritize versus the word that starts with a T.
Understood.
Quick question, and hopefully just more of a request for advocacy, is financial literacy and trying to incorporate that into the curriculum, particularly at the high school level. In 2021, California ranked 34th in the nation of incorporating financial literacy. And then the following year, last year, 22, we fell to 35th. It hasn't seemed to be an agenda at the state superintendent's level, Tony Thurman, certainly not at LA Unified. There's been a couple of assembly bills that have failed to get really to even to a vote. I think one was drafted by someone out. I think Chino was the assemblywoman. I can't remember her name. But that would be great, really, to advocate for financial literacy. I think that would help our students tremendously.
Addison, I have a couple of opportunities for you, actually.
All right.
So you guys know that I work with kids in addition to my adults, but with Biz Camp and Biz Institute. But that's all funded through the Los Angeles Urban League. So the Urban League has a mission for young black and brown students, primarily black students, on making sure they're educated. They do a huge graduation in the fall. But I'd like to introduce you to the staff member, Maisha and Jamaica. Jamaica runs the program. She's the VP of programs over there at the Los Angeles Urban League. We do year-round biz camp now, and our kids are coupling, entrepreneurship in college definitely need to go together. And that's one of the things I teach is create the business when you're 13, 14, 15. By the time you get to college, you got a whole enterprise and a command of a population to buy your product. So we start biz camp again in the fall. I just put a flyer in. So anyone have any kids that are interested in learning to be entrepreneurs, we start October 1st. We meet on Saturdays, the first and third. We're going to be doing it partnering with St. Mary's College School this year. But as well as we were at Da Vinci this summer. I don't know if you guys gone over to Da Vinci campus in Westchester. El Segundo, amazing school. They have an entrepreneurship program. They have an aviation program. They have a welding program. They have pathways to careers at that school. So I'd love to introduce you to that population. They have the most active guidance counselors I've ever seen. They were all there during a time when they weren't even supposed to be there this summer. So, but most schools don't have an active guidance counselors that guide kids through the direction of college, because they assume they're not even gonna go, most of them, especially if they're black kids. So I don't know if that would be open, if you'd be open to that. Definitely talking to my kids, but making those introductions for you.
All right, definitely. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I have a tennis program that we're getting ready to start a youth council, and I'd love for you to come talk to those kids.
Okay, we can. I live in the Bay Area, but we can try to schedule a time where I can come down.
Okay, or we can do Zoom.
Okay.
We have a question from Gwen Allen, and then we need to be mindful of our time. Go ahead, Gwen. Gwen?
There she go.
She had a question about high school students
Oh,
taking.
there I am. Okay, I'm unmuted. I just wanted to know, what is your take on kids who are into creative industries like, music and dance and vocational industries? Because a lot of kids, they may not even want to go to college, but, they might be crafty with their hands. They might be, hairstylists or welders and things of that nature. And I remember there used to be a program where they would bus these kids from high school to a JC, and they would go into cosmetology. I don't know if they had any other vocational classes that they could take, but what's your take on that? Because, I think that's real important. We have to remember everybody's not going to go to college. They do have vocational mindsets. So how can we, sort of get them or help them move in that direction or help?
So I think that's exactly why I brought up earlier in the presentation, the entrepreneurship pathway, the potential of an entrepreneurship pathway, right? Is because of that exact reason right there. Is because a lot of kids don't necessarily want to go to a 4-year university program, but they may want to, like you said, start a vocation program. What I would encourage more students to do is take that vocation you learn and turn it into a business, right?
Right.
The reason why I say that is because my generation, the millennial generation, Gen Z are in trouble, like in terms of economic achievement. If we don't improve this economic situation that we have right now, are going to be underclass citizens permanently, you know? And one pathway to gain that wealth is to do entrepreneurship, right? In America, there's no ceilings on entrepreneurship except opportunity and access to capital. And there are struggles there, but that's also why I brought up the small business development centers, right? And also the work that they provide, and they can help on the community college campus, because again, that you don't have to go to college to get help from a small business development center or any other nonprofit small business technical assistance center, right? And so that's why I'm offering these opportunities and multiple pathways. So that way, if you don't want to and you just want to do a vocation, go do it. Don't wait. You know, there's no reason to wait till you're 25 to do a vocation. Do it at 16, 17 years old. So when you're 18 and your parents are looking at you like you got to put some money on these bills, you're already ready. You're already ready to go out there. That's the plan. But also, if you do decide to go to university and you still did that, how much extra money can you have in your pocket? You know, when I was in college, you didn't have all this extra flexibility like DoorDash and Uber and all this other stuff. You know, that happened like maybe my senior year when this stuff was coming out. You know, so you didn't have the flexibility, but now you do. You know, so that's why I brought up the College and Career Access Pathways dual enrollment program for that reason.
Well, and the other thing is too, I think we need to demystify what college is about, right? College is higher education, deeper education. So when you talk about the lower division classes, those are the same classes everybody needs to take. If you're gonna run a business, and Crystal deals with this every day, if you're gonna run a business and you don't know how to, you don't use the proper language, you don't know how to spell, you don't know how to fill out an Excel spreadsheet, there are some skills and some tools that you learn in those lower division classes that get you ready for your entrepreneurial capacity and scalability requirements. Nina has a question, and then Richard, we may not be able to get to you because I do want Dr. Vicki Mays to come in and give us some update because COVID is starting to act crazy again. Nina, where are you?
You guys see me?
Yes.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Queen Mother Nina Womack, and I'm here in Los Angeles, and I'm also an installed Queen Mother of Development in Ghana, West Africa. So I go back and forth to Africa and here in Los Angeles. And what I'm working on now is bridging the gap between the African diaspora and Africa to come together in business. And I'm really focusing right now on global trade and mobilizing us in Los Angeles as Black people to get into global trade, because that's how the Europeans have built their wealth. Yes. And we don't know anything about global trading. So I wanted to see if Addison or Crystal and whoever else would be interested in talking further with me on how we can put these programs together and move our people forward.
Nina, thank you for that comment. But what we ask you guys to do is to put your information in the chat box, because what ends up happening is that we're having a conversation about education, and now you're talking about global, and I appreciate that. But put your information in the chat box, and we'd love for you to come on and talk about what you do.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Richard. Quickly.
Okay, I was just going to announce, I'm not sure if Addison was familiar with Seed School, but that's going to be a college prep boarding school. It's going to be starting up in Los Angeles. They're going to be located at Vermont, Manchester, in that new development. They're a member of our chamber, and they are right now looking for 9th and 10th graders. They do have some juniors and seniors, but right now they're attending at Jewish University. But they are going to start their own campus. It's going to be right there at Manchester and Vermont. And it's going to be a complete boarding school, all the tuition, free food, everything is free. So that might be a program, because I think they have a program in a school in Boston and DC also. So that might be a route to go. So I just wanted to mention that. I'm not sure if our community was aware of that. Thank you.
Good information. All right, we will, Addison, we wanted to thank you for this information. Rich, you had great questions, some follow-up in regards to the education piece. And this has been this has been some resourceful information. How do we help you? We want you to continue to share information with us so that we can get it out on our platform. And we want to thank your colleagues who joined in today. And then I also want to thank some of the newer faces. I haven't been here for a little bit because of my clinical trial, but I want to thank some of the newer faces and names that we see here. We invite you guys to add your information to the chat box. And please, if you're interested in coming on to share information, send that information directly to either Crystal, myself, Greg, or Steve, and we can set you up with an appointment. What we do ask is that you provide us with a bio and or your LinkedIn profile so that we can properly introduce you, huh, Greg? So, but today we have our medical correspondent, Dr. Vicki Mays has joined us today, and she certainly has some information for us. And we're going to ask her to just take it away.
And Dr. Mays, all of a sudden, I'm getting folks telling me I got COVID. I'm like, what the heck? Where the heck did you get COVID? So can you please enlighten us on why people are getting COVID at this stage of the game?
I am here. Hello. Let me start right now. Hello, family. It's good to be back with you, but sometimes when I come back, I don't come with the best of news. So, but family, you know, it's to be not only wealthy, but I want you healthy. So I know we got a short amount of time, so I'm only going to share 2 things of some special work I've been doing. As you know, COVID is back, but COVID is back more so for us than in some other populations. And I'm only going to do these 2 slides so that you understand. All that I want to do is to alert you that in the summertime, it's the gatherings. You know, I don't know why we're not gathering outside, but, you know, we also have people who have actual active symptoms that have been in different environments, Bristol. That's how some people have been getting COVID. I was recently at a meeting. I kept hearing a couple of coughs. My mask was on so fast, you know, I moved my seat and then later get a notice, a COVID notice that that person, you know, was symptomatic. Talking about, I only thought I had a cold. It's like, no, COVID is here. So, you know, I just want you to think about these things. And again, I want you to think about what happens when we're with each other. So this is LA County data. It has projections all the way through September. And what do you see? We are still the group that has the lowest vaccination rate in the county. So that tells you that when you're in these situations, you need to think about the fact that the person in that might not be vaccinated. I'm only going to give you just one more slide here. And this is the one also. We are not getting our updated vaccines the way that we should. We have the 2nd lowest rate. So if you say why people are telling you they're still getting COVID, a lot of us have not done what should have been done months ago. So family, I want you not just wealthy, but I want you healthy. I want you to remember that when you wear masks, it's not just about what you believe, but it's about respecting other people, because we, again, have more people that have immunocompromised diseases and disorders. So as a business, you want those people in there, but if you're not encouraging, not in say mandating, but encouraging people, leaving doors open, having fresh air circulate, I think you're going to lose some of your business. So family, I'm leaving it there with you. So please be a rich person that's healthy to spend that money.
I am in complete agreement with you, Dr. Mays. I was at a play a couple weeks ago, and this lady in front, and we were down in, we thinking we got good seats on the floor. This lady started coughing. Me and my sister almost went up underneath the table, up underneath the chairs, trying to get away. And we're like, what are you here for? Get out. You got to go. we start putting jackets over our heads. We went into panic mode because it's like and then I've had friends go to Vegas. They come back with COVID. Whole families coming back with COVID. Scary as heck.
Crystal, you and me gonna be here because I will act up when I'm in rooms where people start coughing. I was literally at a talk, the people start coughing. I got out the seat, went and stood against the wall, and somebody said, "Oh, that's Dr. Mays. She's the COVID person." So I was
Dr.
like,
Mays,
Dr.
Mays.
But I want to be alive. I want to be healthy. I have managed to still not get COVID. So, and it's like, I can be called a crazy COVID lady or whatever you want to call me, but I'm going to be healthy and spend the money that I'm making when I learn from you all.
Dr. Mays,
Yes.
how many vaccinations should we now have had? The vaccination shots that should we have now had?
Oh my gosh, that's kind of dependent upon some things, but it's like, if you started out with the 2 vaccination,
Right.
like Moderna, etc., you should have had those 2. You should have had a updated bivalent. You
Right.
could have had more than one updated bivalent. So what I would tell you is go wherever they're giving COVID shots out and say, what can I get right now?
Okay.
So I won't even worry about how many you missed. Just worry about getting there and don't miss the next one.
Yeah, and I think it's 3, and I thought that another one was up.
Oh yeah, if you've only had 3, you actually did miss the opportunity for one. So I would suggest that you talk to someone because they're working on a new bivalent to come out in the fall that will cover different ones. But they recommend to people that if they didn't have their recent bivalent one, to do that, and it'll be, you can take another one in a couple of months and then take the other one. So right now, when COVID's kind of coming back, be protected.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I think I've had 4. And if you guys are over at Kaiser, make sure you get all your whatever it is that's supposed to be happening there, making sure. Before we
Crystal,
yes.
I'm taking number 5 on Monday.
All right.
I got number 5 scheduled on Monday.
Okay.
But aren't those the boosters?
I have a
Those are boosters.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Mays, regarding the Moderna bivalent, what about some of the studies that have come out indicating that there could be some very small percentage, but ties to some of the heart-related issues that folks are, getting heart issues as a result of, I think, the Moderna bivalent, the follow-up on the Moderna. Anything to say about that?
Oh, I do have something to say about cardiac problems, and they're more prevalent in individuals who end up getting COVID and they end up with some lasting heart problems. We have a big increase that's occurring in now what we're calling long COVID with some individuals who get it 2 or 3 times. There's less data that is about the actual vaccination itself. Remember, when we encourage you to get these COVID vaccinations, particularly when you're 65 and over, you may already have some undiagnosed cardiovascular problems, some metabolic problems, and sometimes particularly, I'm not going to be biased here, but particularly for men who haven't been consistently coming in, once we can get you in for that, then you start doing other things. We start noticing things that people like to say, well, maybe it was the Moderna. And actually, I would be more concerned about cardiovascular problems for somebody who has had COVID. This is why you don't want to get COVID. And this is why you don't want to get COVID, more than once. Some people get COVID once and they think they're like kryptonite. They just walk out there and stare COVID in the face and it won't bother them the next time. That's not true. You have an increased immunity for a short amount of time. And then you back to being like everybody else.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Mays. You keep coming back. We love having you. Before we kick off, I just want to make it, first of all, this is National Black Business Month. So let's support each other. Let's make sure we're recycling our dollars. Guys, we had $6 an hour, 6 hours for the a day for our dollars to recycle. So if we can get those dollars up a little bit more than 6 hours, let's make a whole day. How about that? But
Stephen, who do we have next week?
Stephen may be on. I think he's on a meeting. Robin, Doctor.
Kitty Perkins, the Black Barbie.
Next week we have Kitty Perkins, who was designed the first Black. She was award-winning Black Barbie, a designer, and she's coming on to share her story with us. Entrepreneur story, yeah.
Awesome. Also, the Black Business Association is inviting everyone to join them on their inaugural Black Business Day Empowerment Fair next Saturday, which is on the 19th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's taking place outside, Dr. Mays, at Harold's and Bells at 10th Avenue. There will be free business services, Harold's and Bells food truck, KJLH Music, Tammy Mack will host giveaways, free to attend, register at the BBA website. The link is in the chat right there. So please, let's support each other. Let's support the organization, and let's support Black businesses. Let's make a challenge that we're going to increase those dollars in our community more than 6 hours. Let's make it a whole 24 hours. I'm not even asking y'all for a whole week. I'm asking for 24 hours. So let's support each other on that, and let's make sure we show out during the month of August, but let's show out 365 days. Let's come together like that. Throw the hat up in the air, and when we throw the hat up in the air, that means you go spend some Black dollars with another Black business. How about that? Thank you, Dr. Mays. There is a question. Are there any free vaccines? I know we kind of lost all of the resources, but are there any vaccinations or tests that's going on that's free in Los Angeles County today?
Yes, the LA, even though the federal mandate May 11th ended that it was still an epidemic, the county has continued to provide resources. Particularly, people are aware that the cases are going up. So LA County Department of Public Health is where I would tell you to reach out. There's still tests that are available for free. Anthem, if any of you go to sports events and Anthem is out there, they're giving away a bunch of tests free. And if you have some tests and they're out of date, if you go on the federal website for COVID, it will tell you that most of those tests are still valid. Mm-hmm. So you can use those tests, but don't run to the drugstore so fast and pay $20. Try LA County as well as any of the federally qualified health centers to get yourself a free test.
Dr. Mays, just one last thing. Can you give us any insight about the whole Jamie Foxx situation?
I cannot, because I want to make sure whatever I give you is accurate.
Got it.
And I've still been getting the gossip sources. So, I'm with you in terms of where I'm getting my data from.
Yeah.
So that I tell you, go read The Root and all those other places, and it will give you the gossip, but I don't have the accurate source.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Greg, you want to close us out? Oh, he's
jamming. He's
jamming
CAMEO.
He's playing CAMEO.
A little CAMEO in the background. Tune in next week for Miss Kitty Perkins, the Black Barbie. And we're glad you joined us here for the community briefing. Addison Peterson, thank you very much. Thank you all for joining us, Dr. Mays. And we're glad you're here.
All righty, guys. So be safe. Mask up. We got to go back to mask. Stay outdoors. And we will see you guys. Addison, you've been absolutely awesome. Thank you
Wonderful.
all for joining us. And please come back. You can go over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button so whenever we upload a new video, you can actually get a notification. Make sure that you share. We want to make this we want to see hundreds of faces on here, guys. So this is valuable information. I didn't know all that was going on, and I'm part of the youth programs out there. So Addison, thank you, and I'm going to make a connection with you and the Los Angeles Urban League. All right.
All right.
So see you guys next week. Have a good weekend. Try to stay cool. Get some sun. Stay in the sun. Because I heard, Dr. Mays, you can tell me this. I heard a doctor say that we get more cancer because we have low vitamin D.
Yeah.
We have low vitamin D, and it causes us to have, more possibility of not as strong of an immune system. But it's because of the melanin that actually protects us in terms of the sun. But we don't have good tests to know with accuracy what it means in those results to have lower vitamin D. But we are recorded as having lower vitamin D.
So you guys get your vitamin D check. Go out, go garden. I spend at least 6 hours a day out in my garden. Go build a garden and you'll eat better.
I don't believe it. I'm from Missouri. You got to show me.
Hey, well, you can come over anytime. I got I have a bunch of tomatoes that I'm looking to give away.
I'm coming.
Okay, I'm now plant-based, so I might be over there real soon.
All righty, guys. See you later. We're going to stop the recording. And